Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 72, so let's get to it. Episode 72 begins in the Unova Region, in Driftveil City specifically. Ash and Go are here looking into a newly discovered evolution of Klink. However, it turns out that there is no such Pokemon. A local salesman made this up so that he could advertise his shop. He even drew a sketch of the evolution he created, which Ash and Go mistook for sketches made by people that encountered the evolution. Ash and Go are very disappointed, but they end up buying some Klink cookies at the behest of the salesman, meaning that in the end, his plan worked. He got 2 new customers. Now, Klink's name in Japanese is Gear. Yes, I know, very creative. The name of the fake evolution is Gear. With a name like this, Ash and Go should have figured out that this was a hoax. I do wonder, what will be the name of this fake evolution in the English dub? Klink, perhaps? Team Rocket are also here because they learned about the new evolution, and they are also disappointed because it turned out to be a lie. They also ended up buying Klink cookies, so the marketing plan the salesman devised definitely worked in the end. Jessie and Meowth end up arguing over how many geese are in the fake evolution's name. Chloe is here as well. She tagged along with Ash and Go. However, she decided to shop at the Driftveil City market while Ash and Go conducted their investigation. Chloe soon runs into the dejected Ash and Go, who express their disappointment. Jessie and Meowth are still at odds with each other, so James tries to cheer them up by pointing and saying that the Brat Boys are here as well, and it turns out that he is right, so Team Rocket decide to steal Pikachu. Ash, Chloe, and Go sit down to eat the Klink cookies. Eevee and Grookey find the entry to a tunnel in the ground, which catches everyone's attention. Eevee and Grookey, being the childish and playful Pokemon that they are, decide to jump into the tunnel. Ash, Chloe, and Go decide, of course, to follow them. Team Rocket, who are nearby, also decide to go into the tunnel. However, James says that they should instead wait and set up an ambush. Jessie decides to leave Wobbuffet outside with a net as the ambusher while the Team Rocket trio heads inside. Ash, Chloe, and Go search for Eevee and Grookey, and they soon find them. Team Rocket witness this and they decide to catch Pikachu right here. However, when Jessie calls for the hyper catching machine, Meowth says that this machine is not available because Jessie broke it. Jessie gets angry because she told Meowth to fix it, but he didn't. They get into an argument as a result. James tries to defuse the situation, but he drops Morpeko's Pokeball, and so Morpeko, in angry mode, joins the disturbance. James does say that they should keep it down so that they are not spotted, but of course, they already made too much noise, and thus, Ash, Chloe, and Go already know that Team Rocket are here. Jessie decides to throw a smoke bomb so that Team Rocket can steal Pikachu under the cover of the smoke. But the smoke bomb releases too much smoke, which leads to utter chaos, as no one knows who's where. This is made worse by the fact that the tunnel they are in is pretty much a maze. Still, everyone does their best to stick together with their respective companions, but this does not work. And not only do they all end up lost, but they also end up separating, and they all end up with an unlikely partner. Once the smoke clears, it's revealed that Chloe ended up with Meowth, Jessie and James stole Eevee instead of Pikachu, Ash ended up with a very hangry Morpeko, Go ended up with Pikachu, and Grookey ends up alone. This is the perfect setup for comedic gold, as everyone is now lost, looking for their respective companions, and they are in the company of someone that they would normally not interact with. So Ash searches for Chloe, Pikachu, and Go, but he can't find them. Morpeko, however, is not interested in searching for James, Jessie, or Meowth. Instead, it only wants to eat. Ash gives Morpeko a Klink cookie, and he realizes that he will be in big trouble if he runs out of cookies. Meanwhile, Go tries to find everyone else and his way out by thinking and being reasonable. But Pikachu does not care, and he just goes wherever he wants. Go thus tries to reason with Pikachu, but Pikachu stubbornly continues to wander at his leisure, and so Go loses his way as a result. Eventually, they both smell something foul in the area. The episode then cuts to Chloe and Meowth. Chloe frantically searches for Eevee, and she soon wonders why Meowth is following her. Meowth says that there is only one path, so he has no choice. Chloe then questions Meowth and Team Rocket's reason for stealing Pokemon. Meowth says that it's their duty as an evil organization. A bunch of sand then falls on Meowth. Chloe uses a handkerchief to wipe the sand off Meowth. Meowth blushes and he says to himself that Chloe is very nice, especially when compared to Jessie. Chloe and Meowth soon smell something foul, just like Pikachu and Go did. However, the source of the smell reveals itself to Chloe and Meowth. A Trubbish ambushes them, but Meowth uses Fury Swipes to scare the Trubbish away. Chloe thanks Meowth and she says to herself that perhaps Meowth is not so bad after all. They both end up realizing that the other one is nicer than they thought. Meanwhile, Jessie and James ponder what to do next. James wonders if Eevee knows the way out, but of course, James can't understand what Eevee says. James says that if only Meowth was here to translate. Jessie, who is still angry with Meowth, says that having Meowth with them would make no difference. James does tell her not to say this because Meowth is a part of the team, but Jessie does not listen and she ends up deciding to recruit Eevee into Team Rocket to replace Meowth. James says that this could work. They could use Eevee as a spy. Jessie says that this is a good idea, so they decide to give Eevee a crash course on what she needs to know to join Team Rocket. The episode then cuts to Grookey, who is running around without a care in the world. However, Grookey soon hears and feels a wind current from one of the holes on the wall, which indicates that the exit is here, so Grookey decides to check it out. Meanwhile, Pikachu and Go are still walking around. Go wonders if Grookey is with someone and he worries that Grookey might be with Team Rocket, who could have caught Grookey again. He really should not worry about this because Team Rocket can't catch Grookey again because Go owns Grookey. Pikachu then runs off on his own and he reaches the sewers. Go realizes that this is the source of the bad smell from earlier. Go starts deducing that the sewers surely lead to the outside, but before he can complete the thought, Pikachu runs off again. Go catches up to Pikachu and he once again tells Pikachu not to wander on his own, but Pikachu once again refuses to listen. Now I do want to bring attention to the green panel they are standing on. It looks very familiar. I am sure I have seen this before, but I do not remember where exactly. I thought that it was from the games for sure, but when I searched for in-game locations from Pokemon Black and White and Black and White 2, I could not find this panel anywhere. It really bothers me that I can't remember where I saw this panel. While Go tries to reason with Pikachu, a Seismitoad appears. Seismitoad attacks with acid, but Pikachu and Go manage to dodge it. Go tries to tell Pikachu to use Iron Tail, but Pikachu does not listen and he uses Thunderbolt instead, which of course does nothing to a ground-type Pokemon. At this point, this is a running gag. Both Pikachu and Ash constantly forget that ground-type Pokemon are immune to electric-type attacks. This has happened several times in Pokemon Journeys alone. Pikachu then takes a direct hit from Bubble Beam. Pikachu attempts to use Thunderbolt again, but Go once again tells Pikachu to use Iron Tail. Pikachu listens this time and Seismitoad is defeated. Go tries to catch Seismitoad of course, but Pikachu goes for the overkill and he hits Seismitoad again with Iron Tail. Seismitoad falls into the water and it swims away, so Go can't catch it. Go realizes that Pikachu is like Ash. They both stubbornly take the lead and they don't listen to reason. Speaking of Ash, he is busy fighting Morpeko for the remaining Klink cookies. Eventually, Ash decides to eat them first so that Morpeko can't eat them. So, they both start eating the cookies like wild animals. Meanwhile, Chloe wonders why Meowth can talk. Meowth tells her that he learned to do this for a girl that he liked a long time ago. Meowth is of course talking about what happened in episode 70 of the original series. Man, talk about a blast from the past. Chloe gets curious and she wonders what type of girls Meowth likes. Meowth says that he likes kind girls while acting bashful, and he gives Chloe side glances because he is clearly in love with her because Chloe was so nice to him before. Chloe then tells Meowth that if he wants people to be nice to him, then he should be nice to them. And she tells Meowth that he should stop doing bad things. But then she says that perhaps this is not possible since Team Rocket caught Meowth, so Meowth can't oppose them. Meowth says that this is not the case, but Chloe then says that Meowth and Team Rocket are still friends. Meowth says that not anymore because Jessie is awful and she does not care about Pokemon. But Chloe tells him that he should not speak ill of other people, even if they are bad. And if he had a fight with them, then he should make peace peace with them. She says all of this while holding Meowth's hands, or paws rather. This increases Meowth's love for Chloe and he ends up thinking that she is pretty much a goddess or an angel. Meowth decides right here that he will leave Team Rocket and he will have Chloe catch him. I think that it's sweet that Meowth is in love with Chloe, though this is not the first time that Meowth has fallen in love, and it probably won't be the last. Meanwhile, Jessie and James show Eevee a video of the Team Rocket motto. They want to teach Eevee how to perform the motto. They then perform the motto with Eevee, which ends up working surprisingly well. James wonders though if it's really a good idea to replace Meowth with Eevee, and Jessie says that it's fine. She then says that they should keep rehearsing and Eevee is happy. She is clearly enjoying the chance to mimic Team Rocket. The episode then cuts to Grookey, who keeps proceeding through the tunnel, and Grookey finally reaches the exit. However, Grookey's joy is quickly shattered by Wobbuffet, who fulfills its role of ambusher by catching Grookey with the net. Now I love how Wobbuffet shakes the net in order to get rid of Grookey, like you're not the one that I wanted to catch, get out of here. Wobbuffet then keeps guarding the exit, but Grookey takes a liking to the net and so Grookey steals it. Grookey then runs away with Wobbuffet in pursuit. Meanwhile, Pikachu and Go, who are still in the sewers, spot something in the distance, so they follow it thinking that it could be Ash. What they find instead is a bunch of Durants. It turns out that this maze of tunnels is a Durant nest. A single Durant then attacks Pikachu and Go, but Pikachu uses Electro Web to trap the Durant. Now I love that when Durant is trapped by Electro Web, it says Ari, which means ant in Japanese. However, it also sounds like Durant is saying Are, which means ha or what in Japanese. Are is just the thing to say when you're suddenly caught in a net. This is one of the classic puns that the Pokemon anime loves to make. The other Durant are not happy with what Pikachu did, so they chase after Pikachu and Go. Meanwhile, Ash is still fighting with Morpeko over the cookies. However, they are soon surrounded by a horde of Durant. Morpeko is only focused on the cookies though, and thus it does not pay any mind to the Durant, so Ash decides to mock Morpeko by saying that he won't hand over the cookies. Ash hopes that Morpeko will chase after him, allowing them both to run away, but instead, Morpeko uses Stomping Tantrum in a fit of rage, which incapacitates the Durant. It is possible that this was Ash's actual intention. Ash then takes the chance to run away with Morpeko. Meanwhile, Meowth finds a pretty stone which he wants to give to Chloe while confessing his feelings for her. However, his confession is blocked by a Durant who appears from the ground below Meowth. A bunch of Durant then appear, and so Chloe and Meowth are also chased by them. The episode then cuts to Jessie and James, who are, you guessed it, being chased by Durants. Meanwhile, Grookey continues to run around with the net while Wobbuffet chases after it. However, Grookey soon stops because it sees something. Grookey proceeds to use the net to catch this something, which turns out to be a Heatmore, who is of course not happy with what Grookey just did. And Heatmore's friends, two other Heatmore, are not very happy either. Wobbuffet runs away terrified with Grookey in hand. Back in the nest, everyone keeps running from the Durant and they finally reunite. They are all surprised and happy to see each other and their unlikely companions. Chloe happily reunites with Eevee by hugging her, and Meowth says that he wishes that this was him, while Jessie says that she was not really worried about Meowth, and Meowth says that he was not concerned either. Go then wonders where's Grookey. They are all soon surrounded by the Durant. Now I love how Team Rocket freak out at the sight of the Durant and they turn around only to freak out again, this time at the sight of a hangry Morpeko. Ash gets ready to battle the Durant, but Wobbuffet and Grookey arrive with the Heatmore in pursuit. Just the kind of reinforcements that are needed to deal with a bunch of Durants. The Heatmore and the Durant then get into a massive fight. Chloe points out that this is a good time to run away, so they all proceed to run towards the exit and they manage to finally make it outside. Go soon realizes that a Durant is with him. This Durant probably saw the Heatmore and said nope, so it ran away as well. Go of course proceeds to catch this Durant. Go does the classic I caught a Pokemon pose, and Eevee also poses. She was clearly influenced by Jessie and James. Meowth then decides to confess to Chloe right here. He says I love you, please be my friend, but he closes his eyes. So I knew that this would be the classic cliche where a character confesses their feelings things with their eyes closed, and they end up confessing to the wrong person, and indeed, Meowth says all of this to Jessie. Jessie, acting all bashful, accepts the pretty stone and the confession, while saying that they have always been a team. James and Wobbuffet are happy to see that Jessie and Meowth made up. Chloe proceeds to twist the knife by saying to a devastated Meowth that she is glad that Meowth and Jessie made up. Oh Meowth, you never get to succeed when it comes to love. A very hangry Morpeko then stares at the group. Ash says that Morpeko has been hungry for a while now and he tries to give it some cookies, but Ash realizes that he dropped the cookies while they were running, so everyone is on edge. They are afraid of Morpeko. Jessie tells James to do something and James tries to withdraw Morpeko, but Morpeko uses Aura Wheel before James can do anything. And it's hilarious that everyone blasts off, including Ash, Chloe, Go, and their Pokemon. The episode ends in the evening. Ash, Chloe, and Go agreed that while they went through a rough experience, it was still fun in the end. We also get to see one final shot of Team Rocket. They landed on a tree, which at this point is a tradition. And they just hang here while Morpeko happily eats berries while in full belly mode. Meowth thinks of Chloe one last time while saying that she was lovely. And that's the episode. Overall, this was a very funny episode. I was in tears the entire time from all the laughter. This is easily the funniest episode in Pokemon Journeys thus far. It honestly reminded me of one of my favorite episodes in the entire Pokemon anime, Island of Giant Pokemon. In both episodes, everyone ends up separated and lost in a mysterious place. We get to see fun character interactions, and in the end, everyone is chased by something which leads to a reunion. The only difference is that Island of Giant Pokemon features a more unique setting and more inventive pursuers. But episode 72 of Journeys does at least have a better split of characters, as in we get to see some very unlikely pairings, which leads to some good comedy. I love anime episodes where the characters either change powers, or they swap bodies, or they just end up with someone, they normally wouldn't interact with. These kinds of episodes are always a blast. And they tend to improve the relationship between the characters, which is nice to see. Now, normally, I would not review episodes like this where nothing important happens, but considering how funny it was, I could not resist reviewing this episode. Also, Pokemon Journeys is taking a 3-week break after this episode, and thus there won't be another episode to review for a good while. So I thought I might as well review episode 72. But that's the video. As always, leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.